Hi everybody, my name is Pierre Beasley, and for my project paper, I decided to discuss something that wasn't necessarily described during the first or second week of the school that we had. The one that I'm going to be talking about is actually called schema theory. So some of you here, I've had a class with you before, and you probably know about the schema theory from a prior discussion that we had. I did do some research before it, but for those who don't know, schema theory, if you want to think about it in its simplest terms, think of it like pieces or units of information that you use to store in your head to make sense of the world and make sense of certain objects and things. So for example, let's say I had, for example, this little jacket slash sweatshirt thing. When you think of a jacket, you think it'll probably have something like long sleeves, maybe some buttons or something like that. These small tidbits of information would then be stored in your head, right? And so then you could use it to analyze and identify other types of jackets. And there's definitely different jackets other than mine, like rain jackets and stuff like that. But over the years, you'll eventually learn, those those little tidbits of information to try to figure out and try to make sense of all those different types of objects. So for social media, in terms of social media, it initially, because I already had a lot of information on schema theory, I thought that would be much easier than initially thought. But it does take a bit to try to deep dive into what schema theory actually is in terms of social media and to make sense of it all. So for example, there's one theory that some of you may already know called the spiral silence theory, which is basically like people who find other people groups on different social medias or apps or different mediums of stuff like that. If they agree with that group or have similar aspirations or dreams or ideas of that group, they tend to, speak louder, be more confident in what they're saying within that group. And if they're a group that's, where they're the minority, they're less likely to be, outspoken and stuff like that. Initially, what my paper was going to be was about this spiral silence theory, and I was going to make a reverse statement, basically saying, okay, well, if there's the spiral silence theory, how it is, maybe there's probably one that's the opposite, where people, when they see a group that, they're the minority, maybe sometimes they actually do, get the confidence to speak out and say what they want to say, because they want to make, they want to make a grandstand or try to push their own views or agenda or whatnot or ideas onto those people, right? The connection that I made, just as one example, I do have another one, but just for this example, the connection that I made with schema theory and the spiral science theory is that when people interact with certain groups that they know, everyone has that kind of unit of information that they have to try to figure out which group that they feel like they belong to. So let's say, for example, I was a gun owner and I wanted to join some place where I can talk about guns and stuff like that, for instance. And then might be people who are very against guns like that. For people who, probably own a gun or very like guns very much, they probably have a certain view of other people who could also like guns similar to them. So that's kind of like a unit of information that they would use to identify other people. So when it comes to social media, similar to how schema theory is, it's evolving. The cool thing about schema theory is that it's not necessarily something that I would consider a theory. I think of it more like something as basic practice of basic memory. Something that is basically kind of auto-integrated into our lives. And I feel as though I did a pretty decent job trying to explain that in the rest of the paper. But for those who are more curious about it, you can always send me a message. Always ask me, hey, can I see the paper or something, or ask me any questions like that. But I'm just kind of like a small tidbit to what I truly wrote. And I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for everything I've seen so far in the semester. It was a bit of a rough one for me personally, but I wish you all guys the best rest of the year. Best of luck to you. Happy 2024, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.